Hey guys, we're going to have a look at the A7th chords today. So with sevenths, you've got three main types of sevenths that you'll use, and how these form is a little bit based around the chord they're coming from. So we're going to look, we'll start off with the A major. So if we've got an A major here, so you've got your three fingers down on the second fret, you've got your A open there, deaden the E string at the top. So that's your A major. All right, now the pattern for this is the first note, okay, the fifth note in the scale, it repeats the first note an octave up, and then hits your third note. Okay, so with this kind of pattern of a chord, we're going to use that first note that gets repeated to use as a seventh. So we're going to actually drop that one back. Now, you have to rearrange your fingers for this. So if we find that note one fret back, we're going to use our first finger back on the first fret of the G, and then place our other fingers back in position. So this gives us a really nice, beautiful tone. So that's your A major seventh. Now, I loved using this with thumb and finger picking. So okay, now where you can use it is generally where you've got an A major that is a leading chord in a song. So something that starts with an A major, it can be used there. So it adds a bit of color and variety to it. So if I was just doing a all right, A to E major, you could change it up and put in an A minor seventh. All right, changes the total feel of the song. Okay, so it will work for some things, won't for others. Find when you want a mellower sound, the sevenths are really good and it's a beautiful tone. Now, what we want to do is look at the minor. So same thing here. Okay, we've got our bass chord, but with a minor scale, the seventh note is actually 2 frets back from the octave. So if you go, all right, that note is our seventh. Being as it's an open note, makes it super easy. So our seventh chord is just take your third finger off for your A minor. And it's got a really cool tone to it. It's very, very smooth. All right, so you get an idea of what these sevenths do. They really do change the sound. Now, a point I'd like to make is these are add sevenths. So you've actually got 4 notes now in your chord. We'll look at the theory behind that later, but just for reference, these are add sevenths. Okay, now we'll look at the dominant chord. Now, this is one that comes up randomly here and there, and it is such a cool sounding chord. So it has a major third in it. Okay, so like the A major, so you could start with that chord, but then it has a flat 7. So same as the minor seventh. So it's kind of a cross between the two, but gets a very unique tone of its own. So for this one, all we do is take off that second finger. All right, and it's got quite a funky tone to it. All right, now you've got 3 different sevenths chords to play there. Where you use them and when you use them, it kind of comes down to some of the patterns that you want to use. And in jazz, they refer to these as firsts, fifths, thirds, and they'll have a chord based around that. So let's just go with the idea that if you're using a major chord, you can replace it with a major seventh. If you're using a minor chord, you can replace it with a minor seventh. Now, the dominant chord, try it out when you're hitting a major chord. It may or may not work. Just do it by ear for now. We'll get into the theory later. So, putting it into a bit of practice, let's just throw our major seventh in with a C major seventh. So C major seventh, super easy. Okay, I'm sure we'll get to that in another lesson, but all right, it's a C without the first finger down. So. All right, so you get some really beautiful rhythms going there. Now, just to add a little layer of complexity to it, I think these ones sound amazing when you add in a little bit of finger picking. So try that as well. All right, now that'll give you something to play with for the A7ths, and we'll see you next time.